So now let's take a look at our journal, because the one assignment that we currently have remaining is the UNC Besieged base. This is the one with the biotic fanatics that we learned about a while ago. So I think that's next on our list. While we're down here, though, before we forget, maybe we just take a second here. Talking about how I thought it was Garrus in particular had a nice armor upgrade. And his existing armor is actually not bad. In fact, so these are the two, I think for the most part, the two armors that are competing for each other to be the best armor in the game. The Predator, it's either L, M, or H for light, medium, or heavy, depending on what type of armor it is. And then obviously the level. So the Predator is better for shields and tech biotic protection, whereas the Colossus is better for pure damage protection. Remember, damage protection is a little bit of a misleading name. It technically does not apply to tech or biotic abilities, and so oftentimes those are the most dangerous ones. Things like, you know, the Husk Electro attack, the Spit, the Barf from the Thorian Creepers. I think those are both tech abilities. I'm not sure about the Barf. But I think either way, the damage protection number does not affect that, so it's a little misleading. It looks better than it is in that sense. And then again, there are certainly lots of types of damage similarly, generally the same types of damage, that ignore shields. So, but then the higher biotic tech protection does help with the Predator for that. So it's kind of like a situation where ideally we'd keep both of these, and we would swap between the two of them depending on which one feels like it is most appropriate for whatever types of enemies we happen to be going up against. Then again, as for whether we'll actually remember to make that switch, probably pretty unlikely. But in theory, we have the tools to do it. Okay. So maybe we keep him with what he has on at the moment. The other thing was, I thought Caden, we're looking at maybe armor upgrades. I know we had Phoenix armors, human Phoenix armors that we sold, so I assumed that we had better stuff than that. Although Caden is wearing a level 7 version of it, so we might have had a level 8 that we sold. But this would be, again, better damage protection, but worse with, I mean, slightly worse with shields, and somewhat significant difference between tech and biotic protection. This might still be worth making the switch. Oh, except it's level 4, which means that, that means you would lose one of the, slots for upgrades. I think it may, for that reason, be worth sticking with the Phoenix. That is unfortunate. Oh, yeah. Definitely can upgrade his biotic amp. Let's do that. And same with the Omni tool, I think. Well, depends, I suppose, if we're looking for cooldown or shields and med. Yeah, come to get shield and med recharge. Probably not what you tend to be looking for with an Omni tool. Because, well, shield is just pure defensive, and med recharge is almost pure defensive as well. It's really the tech cooldown that matters most, so maybe we do keep him with what he has right now. So, alright. I suppose we'll keep everyone with their existing gear. Okay, so let's head on up. And let's take a look at what we have here. So, actually, obviously, we're just at the Metano cluster. We are currently in the Falstock cluster. Have we done anything in Caspian? Have we done this at all? Do we know of anything in this area? I'm not sure we do. In fact, might be worth poking our head in here briefly. Let's see. Oh! MSV Cornucopia. Did we go here? Have we already been here? Cornucopia is a Nolon glass modular conveyor of human design. While obviously adrift, the Cornucopia is not broadcasting any distress signal. Let me double check. And by double check, I mean our journal. Let's see. That was from Pharaohs. That was also from Pharaohs. Have we been on that? Might be worth poking our head in here briefly. I mean, the fact that it's showing up here suggests that we've already at least seen it. I feel like there's a decent chance we've been on it and I'm just forgetting. We've definitely... Oh, hold on. No, maybe we have not explored this area. Because we've not surveyed these planets, so tell you what. Perhaps this is new to us. Alright, in that case, let's look around here a bit. Let's see if there's anything in this asteroid belt first. I mean, this is practically in the asteroid belt. Cornucopia. And, I mean, if we haven't been here, then I suppose we should read up on it. Did we? Yeah, we did. Okay, so, obviously adrift. But not broadcasting any distress signal. That is a little strange. Then we have Clotunka. Clotunka? Clotunka is a large but low-density terrestrial world with an atmosphere of nitrogen and carbon monoxide. Its crust is composed of sulfur and unremarkable silicates. Occasional deposits of heavy metals, usually the result of meteor strikes, dot the surface. High-speed winds, powered by the hot blue star Caspian, present a constant hazard. Atmospheric entry is hazardous, and EVAs are discouraged. Okay? We can survey it, and we got heavy metal. Scans from orbit have detected a small deposit of uridium. Okay. Then, next planet is Farnuri. Farnuri has a trace atmosphere of carbon dioxide and helium. The surface is mainly composed of silica, laced with iron oxides, indicating the world had an oxygenated atmosphere at some point in the past. Given the relative youth of the blue star Caspian and the significant gravity well of Farnuri, this must have occurred with astonishing swiftness, perhaps a result of some cataclysmic event. Further research is required. Interesting. Well, we can survey this as well, which I think further reinforces that we probably have not been here yet. So it's a heavy metal. Scans have detected a large deposit of gold. Sure. Sounds good to me. Then next, we have Almercrux. Almercrux has an atmosphere of methane and ethane. Despite its great distance from Caspian, the energetic young star heats the surface almost temperate levels. Thick ground fogs are common at the terminator, where water ice frozen during the long dark side nights meet the warm air masses from the day side. The crust is mainly composed of copper with deposits of sodium. Almercrux's abundant water and relatively mild temperature and gravity have placed it on the short list of terraforming candidate worlds. Interesting. However, there is significant opposition from eco-ethics groups who assert that Almercrux's primitive methanotropic bacteria may be a precursor of a full-fledged native ecology. I mean, there's life on the planet, it sounds like. And that's strange. In that this planet, I mean, this is what, like the 4th or 5th planet out from the star, and yet it is still 31 degrees Celsius. Does sound like from everything we've read thus far that this star is quite powerful, so maybe that's why even at this distance they can still heat up this planet sufficiently for it to be livable. And alright, interesting. So we can't scan anything there. Then we last have Antida. And Antida is a standard hydrogen-helium gas giant. Its atmosphere is darkened by traces of sodium. It is one of a relatively few planets known with an orbital period of more than a millennium. Wow. So it takes a very long time for this thing to circle around its star. We can survey it as well, and we get a Turian insignia. Scans of Antida revealed a group of defunct turrets orbiting the planet. The recon team carefully retrieved one of the turrets and brought it on board. Tally dismantled the weapon and found it was marked with a Carthon outpost insignia. Sure. Alright, so that would be the last of everything here, except for, of course, this spaceship. And so I suppose, at first I thought maybe we'd already been here, since it was showing up on our map, but no. I'm thinking on second thought, this might be new to us, so let's hop in. Okay, and so, in terms of what type of team we feel like we want for this mission, whenever we're on a spaceship, I feel like crowd control is usually pretty helpful. Particularly because usually it's pretty tight quarters. And so it does mean that being able to incapacitate enemies before they can lap us in the face with a close range ability of some variety or weapon of some variety, usually a good idea. So I'm thinking we may even go with the same team that we just went with previously. So that was in large part the idea behind going with Liara plus Rex. So let's give that a try, maybe. Okay. And we look at our map here. Oh. We have the cockpit, and there is an X here. Okay. Is that an X indicating that we've already done whatever that is? Oh no, that's wrong way. This way. Throw our weapons just in case. But if we see, like, looted crates, then that's obviously a pretty good indication that we've already been here. But I suppose sometimes there are what appear to be lootable crates that are just purely for scenery and nothing else. Of course, any enemies would immediately indicate that there's still stuff to do here. Empty at the moment, by the looks of things. Let's send Rex as our scout. Oh, Rexy. Care to push further forward? Signs of imminent death? Yup, there are. We suddenly have enemies on the map. And oh, they are husks that look like they are about to explode. How about we immediately try to stasis them?
No need to worry about survivors, then.
No, apparently not. That husk is also about to do something to us. So we stasis one of them. Let's have Liara throw this one. And yes, crowd control definitely going to be relevant here. That was Liara blowing it up with her explosive shotgun. Probably not a bad idea here. Okay, this might be the only one that's still up at the moment. But it's dead now. Okay. I imagine probably the way this plays out is that given how we got sort of an ambush of husks, I'm thinking that we push forward here, and we are going to occasionally just have husks appear on top of us. So I think we do basically what we did before, and send Rex in as our scout, and try to have him trigger the waves of husks. Ideally from far enough away that they don't spawn in directly on top of us, they only spawn in directly on top of Rex. And in theory, Rex is more capable of tanking them than we are. Oh, there would have been an explosive container here that might have helped us to deal with some of them. Rex is displeased because I technically told him to go somewhere that was outside the bounds of this area. I'll just tell him to stand right next to the explosive container. What could possibly go wrong, right? Oh, there's more of them. I wonder. That's interesting. Rex was here before. It seemed like they only started spawning in once we got here, though. So I do wonder if maybe it is basing it off of us and only us. Okay. Well, it did blow up on Rex, which we did set him up for that. One thing to bear in mind is I do think that Husk, their electric abilities, the explosions they are currently charging up, that can pass through barriers like these crates, making this more dangerous than it might initially appear. Okay, all these guys are here. Let's clap them. Do we have any that are still up right now? No, I think they're all currently being thrown around by, well, that. I thought I might have still seen one for a second there, but no, I think Liara took care of all of them with the explosive shotgun. It does seem like that's been working fairly well for us. But yeah, I think what we've learned is that it seems as though husks are spawning in based on where we go and not based on where our friends go. It's unfortunate. That means we can't use Rex as our decoy, which would have been nice. Would been very nice. Does mean we also need to be very careful about pushing forward by ourselves, otherwise, we could get swarmed and not have enough friends to help us out. So, we may still try to send Rex out first, and then basically just follow soon after him. That way, they're basically spawning on all of us. So, if we die, at least all of our friends are going down with us, right? Okay, so we've checked out this area. Was this an actual way out? In theory, it might be. So we'll go down maybe this left side, and then we'll try going down the right side as well. And, oh. But this might be a dead end, though. So maybe we will only go down left side in that case. So, I mean, obviously we could just try to zoom through here as quickly as possible. And just make a straight line toward that cockpit. But I think it's not a terrible thing. Try to fight as many of those husks as possible. Let's save, though, because this could get a little dangerous. We'll get a little bit of extra experience that way. I feel like what we're starting to see is that basically our warning sign is that whenever we see an explosive container, that means there's going to be husks that spawn in once we approach it. I think that's going to happen here. Maybe. We send Rex. Oh no, Rex does trigger them there. Okay. And Rex is in a really bad place right now. Rex, you could fall back. Probably be a good idea. Okay, Liara has blown up several of them. And she was able... Can she stasis through... or not stasis, singularity through walls? Because it kind of looked like it. In the meantime, though, let's blap some of them. This guy is still floating around. I think there's still one. Based on how there's still a red dot. It is moving. Is it coming for us? It is now. Maybe? Rex? Get its attention, please. Let's charge up the electric attack. Oh, hello. Goodbye. Not really that hard, Rex? Okay. So don't know if we're gonna find any additional loot in here, or if by searching more thoroughly, we're just gonna encounter more of the husks. But again, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, as much as that's just, it means more experience. It does mean more risk, of course. As this is more or less the perfect situation for the husks. Having numbers advantage on us and swarming us in close quarters, and even if we try to hide behind these barriers, if they're close enough, their electric attack will go through them. So again, the containment cell here, I suspect that means once we get a little bit further that way, we're going to find another wave of husks. So let's send Rex. It does seem like we did confirm. Rex, if you could like, maybe Liara, go here, and then give Rex the room. Go ahead. Yep, there we go. Okay, Liara, singularity. It does seem as though we've confirmed that Rex can trigger them. That doesn't sound good. Don't see that one. But there are several of them. Rex, why don't you fall back? There's one. Going after Rex, though. Seemingly. What's Rex doing over there? He's chilling by himself. There we go. Please fall back, Rex. Done your job already. No need to be a hero here. No, don't do that. That's a no-no. That's against the rules. I know that you're concerned about accidentally shooting Rex, Shepard, but I assure you, there is a husk behind him. Come on. Get over here. Get over here. There we go. Okay. So there's a few more down. And I do like that we kind of have those warnings coming from the explosive containers. Keep an eye out for those. may not be a guaranteed way of knowing when they're going to pop up, but it's at least a good indicator, like that and that. Rex. Find anything here? No, seemingly not. It does look like that area over there is the next spot for us to go to. Right here, basically. So, Rex. You know what's gonna happen here, I think. Yep. Okay, it seems like they almost immediately explode the explosive containers as well. We've got a decent line of sight here. This is actually significantly better than what we've seen in the past. There we go. I think that's the last of that wave. At this point, we're getting enough monies, yeah, from fighting them that we are now back at the money cap. Okay. Was another explosive a little bit further in that direction. Wasn't sure if that was... might technically have been 2 waves combined. Or if we could give Rex room. Yara here. Rex there. Might have been 2 waves of Hux that we more or less fought simultaneously there. They've already triggered the ones that were technically supposed to be on this side. Only one way to know for certain, though. There. Oh. This whole area here seems relatively safe. Any last-minute surprises as we approach this door? Seemingly not. Seemingly not. Okay. Let's head on in then. And at this point, the cockpit is straight ahead. What do we have? Down here, though, is perhaps our answer to where all these husks have been coming from. Gonna find more popping up once we get in there. Is it a trap? Here comes Zayarter. I don't know. Makes me a little uneasy just waltzing on into this room. But, alright, we'll loot it. Let's see. Let's see, anything good here? Not particularly good. I mean, we're mostly looking for level 10 stuff now, though. Medical Exoskeleton 9, I think, might actually be better than what Rex was wearing. Thought we started to run out of that. The higher levels of that upgrade. It's on 7. We said 8 was not actually as good at doing the stuff that we wanted it to do. But 9, let's see, from a toxin resistance standpoint, it's what? 60 versus 65%, so it is still an upgrade even for that. I think it is just objectively better all around. Or if not, then some ways it's better, other ways it's not quite as good, but overall it should be providing a little bit more. Okay, so that seems to be everything for this room. Let's now try this room, and then we'll go to the cockpit. And, well, same idea here. Any guests? Or have we taken care of all of those? Just one malfunctioning object. Oh, level 10 sledgehammer rounds, okay. That's very good. Talk about crowd control. That is the best ammo upgrade for that purpose. Alright, so here, in theory, we get our answers from this navigation computer. And then, of course, there have been several other missions on spaceships kind of like this. Occasionally abandoned ones, actually several times abandoned ones, or at least ones that have one surviving member on them, in which we fight someone at the very end and then occasionally need to race off with some kind of timer. So let's save here just in case. In fact, what is this even? This Terrace 4, which I don't think we knew that was the name of this facility when we were first looking at it from the exterior. Let's see what we can figure out at this navigation computer.
According to the log files, the ship was out near the Perseus Vale. It seems they found an alien artifact of some kind.
What?
They brought it on board and then... This is odd, Shepard. They plotted a course straight into the Perseus Vale, as if they wanted the Geth to find them.
Okay, so they went straight for the Geth? That is strange.
What else do the logs say?
After that, the entries become confused, as if the captain's mind was degenerating. There is no mention of how the ship returned to human territory.
The Geth turned them into husks and left the ship where someone would find it, trying to show us what happens to organics dumb enough to enter the Veil.
You might be right about that, Rex. You might be right about that. And, well, let's get these back out just in case we find ourselves getting ambushed by additional rounds of those husks. Maybe that's, Oh, sorry, I technically was telling you to walk into that barrier. But, maybe at this point we've technically removed all of them. But in case they respawn on our way back out, better safe than sorry. Continue to send primarily Rex, although I suppose we can send both of them as our scouts. Is there any way to go further down on this side over there? Because it seems like there's just considerably less ground to cover there. Maybe that is truthfully the case. More to do on this side. Rex, if you excuse me, I do believe I directed you to go in that direction. Like that direction? Fine, go around the other way. What's this? It seems pretty quiet here on our way out. I hesitate to say may mean it's safe.
Destination blocked.
I can't make it.
I'm sorry. But I can't.
I can't make it.
Really? Pretty sure you can. Also, pretty sure at this point that we're just out of here. Okay, so obviously we had not been in here. And, well, what was there for us to check out? A whole lot of husks. Okay, so that was... Actually, did it even show up as a mission? UNC Derelict Freighter. Let's see. It has... The Cornucopia was exploring a region of space bordering the Perseus Vale when the crew discovered a strange alien artifact, somehow connected to the Geth. They appeared to have been brainwashed, then transformed into husks, and sent back into human space, either as a trap or as a grim warning. And complete. So this is a mission that we didn't get any indication that it existed preemptively. We only learned about it once we entered the area, went onto the ship, and actually completed it. I don't think we saw anything over here once we entered the ship. I only think it actually showed up once we cleared everything out and checked out those logs in the cockpit. And so what that means is that at this point, we have the besieged base, Vermeer, and we have Bring Down the Sky, which is the DLC we were talking about a little while ago. So we don't have too many things left here. And in terms of our order of operations there, I think the key factors that we want to consider are, I mean, it's mostly a question of Vermeer versus Asteroid 57, which is Bring Down the Sky. Vermeer obviously is a main quest mission, so it's probably it is definitely a little bit longer, and has direct plot significance for our primary objective, whereas Asteroid 57, I deliberately have been holding off from doing this a little bit because this is available to you as soon as you become a Spectre. And so it is something that you could do as soon as you become a Spectre. There are some upsides and some downsides to that, however, because on the upside, there's some potential to gain a good number of morality points from doing this mission, and so that would probably be the primary reason why you would want to do it early. However, because we had several other ways to get a good chunk of morality points, those, well, I mean, I showed you how to do the various infinite morality point glitches. Didn't really use them so much so to instantly max out our meters, but I suppose if you were going to do that yourself, then that means that perhaps Asteroid 57 here, not as much of a priority for you to do early on, and similarly, if like us, you've done just a whole bunch of side quests, then it could be that you also have a bunch of morality points that way too. However, the other thing that is particularly notable about this mission is that, and the reason why I have waited to do it for as long as we have, is because you can also get some pretty good gear from it. And so I've deliberately trying to have been leveling up as much as possible, and that's why I was talking a little bit before about how, like, can we more or less guarantee that we start getting level 10 gear from all the stuff that we loot from just random chests and what have you, as just sort of an indicator of, if we were to say go to Asteroid 57 and get some good gear, is it going to drop as level 9, in which case it's like, so close but not quite perfect? Or if we wait a little bit longer, can we actually get it all the way up to level up and get to the point where whatever gear we get from there will be level 10, in which case we can say, all right, we are legitimately going to get some of, if not the best gear in the game. So that's what I've been focusing on. That's what I prioritized, was focusing on maximizing or optimizing the gear rather than optimizing the morality points. But you could go the other way if, for whatever reason, and we discussed some of them, you might want to focus on getting a bunch of morality points early. But getting a little ahead of ourselves here, I suppose, because I still think we're probably looking to either way do the siege base first. And so this would be, let's see. This is in the Hades Gamma Cluster in the Caucasus system. Okay. So let's head over in that direction. And as a reminder, this is that mission that we only got when we reached a certain threshold for our Paragon meter. And in theory, I suppose it could go the entire game without getting that many Paragon or Renegade points, in which case you would actually never even see this mission. And so there's one reason why going to Asteroid 57 could be worth doing. But of course, like I said, just doing a bunch of side quests and some of the main quests as well, certainly you'll get a good chunk of that stuff eventually. So we are looking for this system here. Wow. Okay, this star, I know sometimes we hear from the planet descriptions that, well, this star is extremely powerful. This star looks, well, I mean, it looks like it's just absolutely ginormous. Looks like it's blinding light. Okay, we have Zayarter. Zayarter is an enigmatic terrestrial planet. Zayarter has a hazy atmosphere of nitrogen and argon. The surface is scorching hot and mainly composed of calcium with deposits of sodium. 3 times in the last century, ships stopping to discharge at Treyarmus have reported geometric patterns of light on the dark side of Zayarter. Attempts at closer investigation prove fruitless. The lights disappear when ships approach the inner system. Strange. Very strange. What are the lights coming from, then? Oh, man. That's an interesting question. Let's see. There's some heavy metals. Scans of this planet have revealed a large deposit of mercury. Also, they've discovered that, I don't know, are they some kind of machines like the Geth who are setting off these lights? Is it some kind of organic species? Intelligent species that is just trying to hide? Not sure. And then we have Chohe, And we can land here. Chohe is a terrestrial planet whose surface is mainly composed of aluminum, with numerous deposits of calcium. Though it has enough mass to retain a dense atmosphere, Chohe is nearly a vacuum. This lack of atmosphere allows a moderate average temperature, but the differences between day and night are extreme. The surface of Chohe's sunward-facing side is usually covered by a haze of volatiles, mainly water vapor and carbon dioxide, which return to the ground as frost over the course of the long, cold night. The Surta Foundation has established a research outpost on Chohe to investigate the native subterranean life on Chohe, which shows incredible resilience to extremes of heat and cold. Very interesting. It did not initially give the impression of a world that would be terribly hospitable for life, but subterranean. They find a way to make it work. And yeah, they weren't kidding when they said little atmosphere, zero atmosphere, or zero Earth atmospheres, as listed here. Who knows if you increase the number of sig figs, if you would find it's at least a tiny bit there. I mean, they say there is an atmosphere of, what? Well, I mean, nearly a vacuum, I suppose, but... Alright, yeah, nearly a vacuum it is, then, with 0 Earth atmosphere, so that makes sense. Still 11 degrees Celsius is not terrible. Like I said, much hotter on the sun side than it is on the dark side. But, okay, we will land there eventually, of course. But first, let's take a look at the other things we have in this area. Zamari. Zamari is a small, airless, cratered terrestrial, a lifeless rock quite similar to Luna. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of silicates, though one hemisphere has several seas of dark basaltic rock. Oh wow, it is, what, the third planet out from the sun, or the star, and, it's still, oh, it's negative, okay, negative 117. For a second I thought that was, positive 117. I was like, that's pretty hot for being this far out, but no, negative makes a lot more sense. Alright, let's check this asteroid belt. See if we can find anything interesting here, or is it truly empty? I think I might have cut a corner there. Let's just zoom through real quick. Looks like it is empty. Yeah, I think so. That's Zamari. Okay, then we have Faringor. A large but low-density terrestrial world, Farngor is generally believed to consist mainly of water ice. Occasional upwelling of metals caused by the interacting tidal forces of several large moons suggest the core is small but extremely dense. Farngor has a thin atmosphere of carbon dioxide and ethane. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of dark, carbon-laced water ice. 10 years ago, Farngor's grim surface color and dim illumination drew the cinematographer Risa Uvarsen to film the exterior scenes of Starless on location. Acknowledged as a masterpiece of gothic horror, the sets, well preserved by the vacuum, draw hundreds of tourists to the backwater system every year. I like how it has this sort of purple glow to it, you can see on the edge of the planet. And it's quite cold, and yes, again, basically vacuum atmosphere here. Seems like that is certainly a common theme. We can survey it as well, and we get a rare earth element. Scans of this planet revealed several small deposits of polonium. Okay? Then lastly, we have Treyarmus, which I think we heard reference of when we were reading about Zayarter. So, Treyarmus is a hydrogen-helium gas giant with a powerful magnetic field, making it a popular discharge site for freighters working the Anansi Ishtar shipping route. Okay, so apparently this is somewhere along a popular shipping route. It is popular enough, in fact, that Quarian ships can often be found loitering in orbit, selling the freighter crews cheap refreshments, salvage, and odd craftworks assembled by their children. There are no ships in orbit at present, however. Okay? And there's nothing we can do there, scanning-wise. And so that means what we have here is just Chohe left to land on, so I suppose we do it. Okay, so I should mention here, this is a mission that of course only becomes available to you relatively far along in the game once you get a certain number of morality points, or percentage of morality points filled. And that is not without good cause. Or not... It is for a good reason, I should say. This is a tough mission. That is the primary reason why I was saving this one. One moment. I think once again, probably looking at crowd control being one of the key factors here, and I think biotics in particular, tech, while potentially helpful, has also the potential to backfire a bit on us here. And so, while, I mean, our usual team of Liara plus Rex, or at least the team we've been using as of late, is still tempting for those same reasons, because Liara is definitely our best pure crowd control person. Maybe just to switch it up a little bit here, we go with Caden, although he does have some tech abilities which could potentially get us in trouble. What we can do is if we do this, let's land, and then I have something in particular that I think we're going to want to do. Once we get to the actual location we're looking for, which, let's see, we have an anomalous signal here, science base down there, and debris over here. So I think what we're going to find is that this science base presumably is our main quest area that we're looking for, and then don't know what this is going to be. So I think we finish on this. And, well, it is, once again, kind of in the opposite corner from where we're starting. I mean, I guess we're sort of starting in the middle, in which case we could basically just go toward the science base and just not actually go in it, and then just complete a circle around the rest of the planet and finish back where we started and conclude with that. That might be the play. I'm also noticing, however, that, oh, actually, I was going to say, I thought it had been quite some time since we last used Caden, but apparently not that long. He only has one ability that he can still spend here, or 1 point rather. And so let's see, for him, not sure we really wanted to unlock first aid. Decryption, I mean, at this point he's already unlocked Master Sabotage, but going further would increase tech damage further. Alternatively, we could also increase the barrier duration, or we could throw 1 point in just to get a stasis, which, remember, when it comes to our friends using stasis, they do not use stasis automatically. They will only use it if you specifically direct them to do so, and we have a specific upgrade that is only available to us that allows us to damage enemies that are currently in stasis, whereas if anyone else does it, any of our friends, then the enemies that we stasis, sure, they will be completely immovable. They will not move, and they will not attack us in any way. But we also cannot damage them. So because they do not have that upgrade. So there's definitely some significant downsides. However, for 1 point, it might be worth throwing that on here. I think we go for it. And, you know, what are we sacrificing here? We're potentially sacrificing a little bit of extra barriers, a little bit of extra tech damage. We'll live. No, how often are we actually going to direct Caden to use this stasis ability? We'll see. We'll see. It gives us more options for locking down opponents. So it does perhaps mean that the combination of Caden and Ashley could truthfully be our best crowd control team. I think Rex also does have stasis available to him, but, you know, we chose not to. And so does Liara, in fact. So if we really wanted to, if we were to, say, level up before we get too far here, we could even choose to put it on Liara as well. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. As for the actual map, though, yeah, let's try. Going for science base first, and then it's looking like maybe slightly to the east of it might be a little bit easier. And then, in that case, we'll go counterclockwise and finish back here. Let's go for that. And let's save here.